Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. The topic for today's clip should be pretty obvious based on these two beautiful boxes sitting in front of me. Literally 2 minutes ago, my doorbell rang. I walked out on my front porch, and there was my friendly FedEx guy. I looked down, he's got two boxes from China. The minute I realized what they were, I grabbed them, ran inside, tore them open so I could get in here and talk to you guys about them. I'm not even sure I closed the door. I gotta go upstairs and check that. But I wanted to get into an unboxing of both the Mavic 2 Zoom and the Mavic 2 Pro, as well as the Flymore combination, so you understand exactly what comes with the products when you decide to buy them. But there's a ton of unboxing clips out there, so I'm gonna do it a little bit differently. I'm gonna try and do a turbo unboxing, which I'll speed up all the action, and then I'll show you exactly what comes in the box. After I'm done with the unboxings, I want to do a comparison between what the new Mavic 2 looks like and what the original Mavic Pro looks like, just to give you some initial observations, and then I want to get outside and fly it. Now, the reason I'm talking so fast is because I had a lot of coffee this morning. I'm a 9-year-old trapped in a middle-aged man's body, and I could not be more excited. And on top of that, I realized the only thing standing in the way of me getting these two beautiful birds up in the air is this clip. So I want to get through it quickly so I can charge them up, get them outside, and fly these things. Because even though I could touch it at the show, I could take pictures of it, I got a chance to fly it, it wasn't like taking it to a field near me where I can put up a quad and compare the beautiful scenery with the Mavic Pro and other quads that I've got and this brand new Mavic 2. So I want to get these things up in the air as quickly as possible. The other thing is, we've got 6 days of bad weather heading for New Jersey. It's going to rain solid for 6 days. So I have today and tomorrow to get these guys up in the air, capture some footage, and come back and do some comparisons between the quads. So we'll start with the unboxing, and then I'll get into the comparisons between the two briefly. I promise you there'll be a ton of other clips following this afterwards, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel. And if you've got questions on the Mavic 2, drop them in the comments below, because I'm working on a clip right now of your top 10 or 20 questions answered in a clip. So anyway, stay tuned and we'll get into the unboxing. The first unboxing I'll do is for the Mavic 2 Pro, because that's the quad I'm really looking to get up in the air and compare the image quality. Before I tear into the box though, I want to show you the packaging it came in, and you'll notice on the inside flap there are two graphics here. There's a Facebook Messenger connect point for service, and there's also a QBR code up top here, which I believe brings up like a WeChat or something like that application. I like that a lot because DJI has gotten a lot of heat over the last couple of years about their customer service not being so responsive, and I think by putting those two graphics on the box, they're giving you two additional ways to get a hold of service if you need them. So I haven't played with those yet. I'll probably do a whole clip on how they work and how you can get into that, but let's get into the unboxing. Now, the way this is going to work is normally I take my time, I open it up, I pull things out, I talk about them when I pull them out. There's 100 clips on YouTube at this point where people are unboxing things, so I'm going to speed this up and do a turbo unboxing. Now, I talk pretty quick as it is. I'm not going to talk at all during the video. I'm just going to speed it up and you'll see me pulling all the stuff out of the box. When I'm done, I'll slow it back down and start talking about how they differ from the Mavic. So hang on and we'll get started. Man, oh man, oh man. I got to slow it down for this part. This is unbelievable. Oh, this is gorgeous. Now again, I did handle this at the show, but it's got so much precision built into it. I mean, it's just an incredible build. It's got a brand new metal piece on the bottom for heat dissipation. The other one had ribs along the bottom. You're also noticing a lot more sensors. There's an LED light on the bottom. It's got infrared sensors and two cameras. Both sides you've got clips for, I guess, getting access to USB and probably the SD card on the other side. Look at the globe on that thing. It's much larger because of the Hasselblad camera in there, but man, oh man, when they build a product, this thing is just absolutely incredible. I'm looking at the seams and they marry up perfectly, and you've got vents on the front now with exit vents on the back, so that's your cooling through the side. I'm sure there's a centrifugal fan inside there that spins this direction to pull that through. Let me just take a quick look. I'll pull off the bottom. So getting this cover off is a matter of just pulling this down and sliding that off. And I'm looking now to see if there's any space behind there. Okay, so they've eliminated the vent behind the camera. I was curious about that and forgot to check it at the show. And the Mavic Pro, you had a vent behind the camera that would pull air in and run it across the printed circuit board. Obviously, these are the intakes now for the cooling air that runs across that board. So, all right, so there's your quad. I'm going to speed things back up again. Okay, so what we've got is the Mavic 2 Pro. We've got the remote controller. Now, on first observation, it looks almost exactly like the Mavic Pro controller. I actually have that guy right here. So let me put them side by side just to give you a perspective of them. And I've got, I'm going to say almost exactly the same, except for the gray color. So very, very similar. Looks like the same build and design to it. So again, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this, comparing them side by side a little more closely. Got the vent in the back. That's something to see in the OcuSync models quite a bit because they need extra cooling with the OcuSync. Apparently it runs a little bit hotter than the Lightbridge does, but pretty much the same all the way across and rear wheels on it. So I'll do a lot of testing to see what accessories work with this that worked fine on the Mavic, the original Mavic Pro. You've got the connection down here for your phone, so you pop it in, you're good to go. You've got the removable joysticks, which they used on the Mavic Air for the first time. And actually, kind of a curious side note, when that Mavic Pro was first released, and this isn't well known, they actually had, I think, versions of the remote controller with either magnetic or threaded thumb screws on it. So they changed that to an attached thumb screw later in the production run. So if you were early in the buy of that product and you got a couple of the first units that were out, these actually pulled off. So it's nice to see they brought them back with the Mavic Air and now again on the Mavic 2. All right, you get a pile of manuals in there, so tons of information. I'm going to read through these, probably not before I fly it, but maybe. I've got 3 sets of blades. So you've got one full set for the quad and one spare set of blades. So you've got 2 blades in here. I would recommend getting blades immediately. Not that you're going to bang this thing up, but if you crash it and you take out more than 2 blades, you won't be able to fly it. So definitely pick up some extra blades. If you bought the Fly More kit, you get a couple extra blades in there. Looks like a connection cable here for the drone. And what's interesting is they've moved now to, looking at it, it's USB-C inside there. So they've gone to a USB-C connection, and that's really the connection that everybody's using nowadays. USB, the micro USBs are gone. The USB-C is now the new standard that everything is charging through. And this is a full-size USB-A to USB-C connection. That's great. You've got a spare set of joystick thumb pieces right there. You're going to lose those, I guarantee it. I've lost a couple of sets already, so it's nice that they include those in there. This is really a nice attachment. This is a USB-C female to a micro USB end on this end. So you can use this cable for a micro USB connection, USB-A to micro USB connection, or a USB-A to a USB-C connection. So really nice that they gave you a little dongle there because that makes that totally functional for USB connections. And then you've got, this has the, looks like the Apple connection. So the Lightning connection comes standard in the controller, and you've got a USB-C and a micro USB connection there as well. So no matter what kind of phone you're going to use or tablet, it'll plug in there directly. Now I'm going to do a lot of testing around this to compare sort of, can I fit like an iPad 4 in there? Can I use the same cables in there? Can I do a lot of things I could do with the Mavic Pro? Let's take a look at the quad real quick. So I'd mentioned the camera before. They've definitely changed. I threw it over there. I can't reach it, but they've changed the gimbal lock on this. So it looks like it slides in on top of the camera, and when you snap the bottom piece in, it nestles the camera very gently between the plastic because that's a pretty formidable camera. It's got some weight to it, so you wouldn't want this thing bouncing around in your bag. Don't lose that cover because you're going to want to make sure this thing is rock solid when you're putting it away. All right, so let's take a look at the battery because that was one of the biggest changes that I noticed at the show. And that battery is a lot larger, a ton larger than the old battery that was in the Mavic Pro product. Now, when I do the unboxing of the Zoom, I'll actually make sure I have a Mavic Pro battery so I can compare it side by side, but it's a much larger battery. It's a 3850 milliampere hours versus a 3830. So from a power density perspective, it's a little bit bigger a battery, but that's because the quad itself is larger, the motors are larger, there's a lot more electronics going on. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, they need a bigger battery. You know, why don't I get more flight time out of it because the quad's about the same size? You got to remember, the motors are not the only thing drawing power from that battery. There's a ton of electronics in there, especially when they're trying to process that 10-bit video that's coming in from the camera and all the other electronics around crash avoidance and APAS and all the other things it's doing. All those thinking parts of the quad are drawing power. They're drinking electrons. So having a bigger battery means that I've got plenty of power to supply all those critical circuits the power they need to actually run and do what they're supposed to do. So very cool. So there's your Mavic 2 Pro, which again is the first one I'm going to get up in the air, and I cannot wait to power this thing up and go outside and fly it. So stay tuned, and now I'll do the Mavic 2 Zoom unboxing, then I'll do the Fly More combination, and then you won't see me for a day or two because I'll be outside flying through every battery that I've got charged at that point. So stay tuned and we'll do the Zoom. Okay, now I'll do the Mavic 2 Zoom unboxing, and again, it'll be a turbo unboxing, and I probably should trademark that term, but what I'm going to do is open it up very quickly. I'll speed up through the boring parts. I'll slow down when I find something interesting that I want to talk about, and then at the end, I'll come back and show you everything that comes with the package. So here we go. Okay, I had to slow it down there because I know I just looked at the Mavic 2 Pro, but man, oh man, is this thing sweet. And I know everybody gushes over it, and Rick, they say, Rick, you're making a big deal out of nothing, but I'm telling you, this is a precision piece of kit right here. Just a sweet drone, really, really well made. I mean, it's got such a mechanical feel, like a professional mechanical feel. And when I was younger, they used to tell me you could tell the quality of a car by the way you slam the doors. You feel you got the sound you got of that. And man, I'll tell you, as an engineer, I am blown away by the quality of this product, just the way those lock closed. All right, so let's take a look at the gimbal in this one. All right, so there's the gimbal guard. Well, I can already tell that I'm not going to like this one that much. Seems like a bit of a kludgy gimbal lock, and I hate to say that, but I don't like two-piece type of attachments because I'm bound to lose this one or crack this one. But essentially, that's going to slide under the camera and hold the camera closed, and that globe's going to pop on over top. So I'm already going to be on the hunt for a replacement for that. I'm sure there'll be aftermarket products that probably in one piece snap on. Same arrangement here with the camera, same venting on either side of it. Beautiful looking quad, and again, I'll put them side by side at the end of the clip to give you a feel for if it's larger or smaller. My suspicion is it's the same airframe exactly from a size perspective, which we all know is a little bit larger than the Mavic Pro. So I'll give you some comparisons on that. All right, let me take a look at the battery before I move on to the other stuff, because I'd mentioned that before. So the battery in this one, obviously the same battery as the Mavic 2 Pro, but I've got it side by side now with the Mavic Pro battery, and you can see immediately that it's a lot thicker. It's also a little longer. And on the bottom, one thing I did notice when I was looking at that other battery is the way they attach to the drone. They've purposely built the connections on this one to be on the bottom and the connections on the original Mavic Pro to be on the top. So there's absolutely no way that you could smack this battery in there and make a mistake and try and fly this quad with the old battery. They not only made the frame different so it won't fit, but more importantly, the connections on the end are on the opposite ends of the battery. So pretty cool on that. All right, so let's put this guy back in, get back into the unboxing. Okay, so we're back. So let's take a look at what we get. I imagine it's going to be exactly the same as the Pro. So a ton of manuals there. I love the fact that they put printed manuals in the box. I know it's one of my pet peeves and I talk about it a lot, but some companies that'll sell you a drone for a couple $100, put a link in there where you got to go to their website and print out your own manual. I like having the manuals because I'm not going to lie to you and say that I sit down and read every word in the manual before I fly it, even though as a nerd, that's probably what happens most of the time. I do like to have the manuals to go back and refer to them, so having a printed manual is a great thing. All right, so we talked about the quad. There's the quad, that's the Mavic 2 Zoom. There's the remote controller. You get the power supply, and on this power supply, you've got the connection for the battery, and it is keyed, so you can't flip it in different directions. If you look at the connection very closely, there's a little bit of an angle on the one side. So when you plug it into the battery, you've got to align this to the right end of the battery. On this end, you've got a USB connection, which is great for charging your remote controller. So the interesting thing about the remote controller is that it's a micro USB connection on the side, a full-size USB connection on the bottom. So when you're charging the controller, you need a micro USB connection to do that. The cable I give you, as I showed you when I unboxed the Pro, is a USB-C connection. So you're thinking, well, gee, that's not going to help me. How do I charge a micro USB controller with a USB-C connection? Well, you do that with a little dongle they include. So it's really nice that they've got you covered from both angles. So I've got a USB-C connection here, which again is the newest version of charging and syncing and everything else in USB cables. USB-A connection on it, and if you're going to charge the controller, you snap on this little dongle. It's got a USB or a micro USB connection on it. You plug it in, you can charge it up. So pretty cool to give you the cable. So there's the cable. You've got 3 sets of propellers again. You've got 2 that you'll need for the quad to fly it and 1 extra pair. And as I said when I did the Pro unboxing, I would definitely pick up a couple extra sets of propellers because inadvertently you're going to hit something. I guarantee you're going to hit a branch or a tree or something, hopefully nothing substantial, and you're going to need to replace those propellers. And if you take out more than 2 of them, you're out of luck. You get another set of joystick thumb pieces on the top that screw in, so that's really nice. And you get the additional cables. This one came with a Yep, so it's a lightning connector in there, so if you got an iPhone or an iPad, it's set up ready to go. But you've got a micro USB and a USB-C cable as well. So they really outfitted you exactly the same as the Mavic 2 Pro, it's just the quad is different, which makes sense. Now stay tuned and I'll get into the Flymore combination because I know a lot of people had questions as to whether the Flymore made sense, should I wait, should I buy it? And I'll give you some recommendations on that once I get it unboxed, so stay tuned. Now I'll do a turbo unboxing of the Mavic 2 Flymore kit. A lot of you have asked me if it makes sense to buy this when you first buy your quad or come back later on and pick it up. That's totally up to you and your budget, but the nice thing is, unlike the Mavic Pro product, you don't have to make that decision at the time of purchase. With the Mavic Pro, you either bought the Mavic Pro, which was the quad and the controller and a couple of other accessories, or you bought the Mavic Pro Flymore combination, which included all the other stuff that you get. There was no way to pick that up later on. What they did this time was actually separate those 2 purchases so you can buy the quad, fly the quad for a while, and then come back and buy this later on. Now, I do believe that a lot of the things inside this kit are things you're going to want to add anyway later on. Certainly extra batteries, propellers, a car charger. It's got a really nice carrying case in it. So all those things are things that you're going to want to pick up. And if you buy the Flymore kit, you actually get a pretty good discount compared to what it would cost you to add all those items up individually. So I'm going to tear into this and I'll go into turbo mode in a second. If there's something interesting that I think I want to talk about a little bit, I'll come out of turbo mode and I'll talk about it a little bit. And then finally, I'll come back with some comparisons and conclusions very quickly, because again, I want to get outside and fly these things as quickly as possible. And you're standing in the way at this point. So let's get into the unboxing. Okay, I just wanted to pause for a second because there's so many nooks and crannies inside this case that I wanted to take a minute and just point them out. So you've got side spots over here that will hold a lot of stuff. Could be a water bottle, extra accessories. You've got a flat panel in the front, which would be a great place to put maybe your extra propellers or some other devices or cables that you're carrying along with you. You've got a nice little pouch up top here where it's zipper closed, so that would be a great place to put cables and other things. And then down inside the unit, you've got two deep pockets down there. One is obviously set up for the drone. The other side will handle two batteries in the bottom. You can keep one battery in the drone, and there's a ton of extra space above that for other accessories you want to put in there. So let's dive into this and take a look at what we get in these two boxes. Okay, so I think we got a lay of the land here. So you get obviously two extra sets of propellers. Yep, so there's two extra sets in addition to the one spare set that you got with the quads initially, so that's really nice. I like that they got them cardboard so you can slide those in the front and protect them. You get a charging hub, which looks to be a pretty cool product. Now I'm going to tear this guy open in a second. And it looks very similar to the Mavic Air charging hub, where the two flaps flip down like that. Your charger plugs in the bottom, and again, this is keyed, so you got to be careful to make sure you plug it in the right way. This is your car charger, but the original charger that came with it, you'll plug it in, you'll route the cable along the end, you can lay this flat, then your batteries pop in just like they do on the Mavic Air. Now, I know because I talked to some of the people at the show, this is what's called a sequential charging hub, which means it's not going to charge all four batteries simultaneously. It's intelligent, so what it's going to do is actually look at the batteries that you've plugged into it. It's going to find the battery that needs the least amount of charge. It's going to charge that one first. When that's full, it'll turn it off. It'll move on to the next one that needs the least amount of charge, and it'll sequentially walk its way through whatever number of batteries you've got in the hub. A lot of people complain about that and say, why doesn't it charge all four at the same time? The honest truth is the charger that came with your quad doesn't have enough current to actually charge more than one battery at a time. So it's going to carefully charge it, keep track of it, make sure that it's not overcharging it, that there's nothing wacky going on. When it's finished, it puts it to sleep and moves on to the next one. I think that's totally fine. I fully expect there'll be chargers that come out that do what we call parallel charging, where you can charge maybe 3 cells at the same time, in addition to maybe 2 other USB devices. So I'm looking for accessories right now. I'm on the hunt for a lot of that stuff. If I find them, you can expect me to do a clip on them. But I love the fact that this folds up nice and tight so I can take it with me when I travel. And in the fact that it can charge 4 batteries, I tend to call this my overnight charger. So I'll put them on there, let them charge overnight, and then when I get up in the morning, boom, they're charged. All right, so you get a nice strap for this as well. It's got a really nice carrying handle on it. And there's something under here. Oh, look at that. So they got a label on the end that says Mavic 2. Isn't that great? So they've actually labeled this up so you know exactly what quad's in there. I don't know if you can get it confused or not because it's kind of a unique bag. Shoulder strap if you want to use that to carry it. And then last is the car charger. Now this is a really great accessory that was difficult to find for the other quads. I love this because a lot of times when I'm flying, probably like you guys, I'm out for an afternoon of flying, I fly at a location, go through a battery or two, and then I've got to drive to another location somewhere else in that particular area. I plug in the battery and charge it while I'm driving to that second location. So I love having a car charger with me. I just think it's a great way to extend that flying day, because honestly, when I go out to fly most days, I'm looking to spend as much time as I can up in the air. And one thing that frustrates me is I don't want to carry 45 batteries with me if I don't have to. So having a car charger is a great thing. All right, last but not least is the adapter for the battery. Now this is a product that's been out for a while. I've talked about this in a few clips. Every other quad that I've got pretty much has an adapter for the battery that converts the voltage inside, the 15.4 volts inside, down to a standard USB-A connection on the back, which is a 5-volt connection. So what I like about this is that late in the day when you need to charge your thirsty portable devices, you're going to have a battery or two that you've run down to maybe 30% or 20%, and you're not going to want to charge it, but you have to charge your phone or your tablet, or maybe you're driving between locations and your tablet needs to be a little bit topped off. Having that adapter allows me to plug in a standard USB-A connection over here and tether it to whatever device I need to charge while I'm driving to that second location. The only thing I'll caution you about is this doesn't turn on the battery. So when you're using this thing, you'll plug in your device, you still have to turn the battery on as if it was in the quad, and that activates the connections down the bottom. So very nice that they included that. That's everything you get, including the strap, 2 sets of props, a car charger, a charging hub, 2 batteries, the beautiful case itself, and the straps. I may have missed something else because I went through a turbocharger on this, or turbo review on this, but I'll go back and if I missed anything, I'll bring it up in the next clip. But I think this is a great collection of products. Oh, I forgot to mention this, and the adapter. I think it's a great collection of products to put in the fly more combination. Everything here, without exception, is something I'm going to end up buying later on anyway. And if you add up all these products, I haven't done it, but I'm sure that it comes to more than what the fly more combination kit costs you. So that's pretty much it for this clip. I'm going to get outside and fly this thing right now. I am gleeful that I can charge those batteries very quickly, get out there. It's a beautiful day in New Jersey, and I cannot wait to get this thing up in the air. So if you're a fan of the channel, you already know that I'm going to be putting a lot more clips up on the Mavic 2 and all the other Mavic products, Mavic Pro, Phantom, Spark, Mavic Air, all the stuff that we fly. But this, to me, is a quad that has changed the game dramatically. Whether you go with the Zoom or you go with the Pro, and I'll give you some thoughts on that in another clip. I think that it's really raised the stakes for what a quad can do for you in the air. And I'm going to get out there and fly this thing, and I guarantee you, I'll be smiling ear to ear the whole time that thing's up in the air. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button down there and join the family, because I love putting these clips together, and I hope you're finding value in them. I promise to keep challenging you with things that I put up. So join the Drone Valley family. We'd love to have you as part of the group. The last thing I'll mention is if there's something I missed or something I goofed up on, because I went through this so quick and I'm really excited, drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. I promise to talk slower in future clips. I'm just so excited to get outside and fly this thing. So that's pretty much it for today. Thanks an awful lot for watching, and until next time, happy flying.